Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Evelynn Jungle. They're pretty set in stone, but the few variations are going to come in the secondary runes that you would run. So starting off with the keystone, it's going to be Electrocute. Electrocute, whenever you hit 3 instances of damage consecutively, you're going to deal bonus damage that's based on your level, and then also based on your bonus AP. Electrocute's only on about 20-second cooldown for most of the game, so anytime you're looking for a gank, it's probably up, and then the downtime on it, even if you gank one lane, the downtime on it like just isn't that bad. So you can gank another lane, it'll still be up, or for the next skirmish, it'll be up. The important part about running Electrocute over something like Dark Harvest is that yes, Dark Harvest deals more damage to champions who are lower, but with Electrocute, if you simply like don't have this damage in the early game, then it's very hard to kill champions, especially if you're just killing them yourself, because the extra damage actually equates to a good amount, and Evelynn's kit is seemingly like balanced around that, especially if the game's entirely even. In the way that jungle works now, if you're ganking a solo lane, like it's going to be very hard to kill them, as usually they're going to have levels over you. So having this damage versus having like kind of just a win more rune in Dark Harvest is makes things way more consistent, and then works the best with her kit too. The only downside with Electrocute is that it's single target, but even come mid to late game, Evelynn's completely fine with having a single target burst rune, as the AoE she deals is kind of luxury anyways. Usually her job is just to kill one target, and then if she's doing anything more than that, she's kind of really killing it. For the second rune, it's going to be sudden impact. After you exit stealth, use a dash. So basically, anytime you would exit stealth, use your E or even your ult or your flash, or if you have proto belt, then you can proc sudden impact. And sudden impact is going to give you 7 lethality and then 6 magic penetration. Sudden impact effectively functions as like a minor keystone, as the damage that it's going to be offering, especially whenever you're post level 6, is going to be pretty significant, and in combination with Electrocute, is going to give you lethals that you just otherwise wouldn't have. For the third rune, it's going to be Eyeball Collection. All 3 of the runes in this row are basically like how you want to earn the 30 ability power offered by them. With Zombie Ward, you would earn it through clearing wards. With Ghost Poro, you would earn it through placing wards, and then with Eyeball Collection, you earn it through killing champions, through killing the champions, or even just getting assist. Most junglers can make pretty good use out of Zombie Ward, but since Evelynn's invisible, it doesn't make much sense to be moving around the map and sweeping to clear wards like a champion like Elise would. So having this, have it where you build the AP up through getting kills and assist, not only adds to the snowball potential, or like the snowball speed, but is about your best option out of the 3 here. For the fourth rune, the best option is probably Relentless Hunter. You can make an argument for maybe Ravenous or Ultimate Hunter. The thing is, with Relentless Hunter, you're going to be getting more movement speed whenever you're out of combat, and that's most of the game. And with Evelynn too, especially come mid to late game, it's a lot about how you can get behind enemy champions, because if you're just running into like the 5-man team, then they have a lot of ways to deal with you. But if you're coming behind and then singling out a carry in a fight, then you're going to be a lot more effective. With Ultimate Hunter, your ultimate is on a pretty significant cooldown, but it's not so crazy that you really need Ultimate Hunter versus the extra movement speed from Relentless Hunter. It's fine if you want to run it, but I would recommend Relentless Hunter, as it's more generally useful, and then also come mid to late game, the ult gets on a pretty reasonable cooldown. With Ravenous Hunter, you heal for a percentage of the damage dealt. With Evelynn, it's not so much about spending your HP as a resource, it's more about spending your position as your biggest resource, as even if you're going to be healing a bit off the damage that you deal, it's going to be pretty negligible, especially if the enemy gets onto you in the first place. So if they've CC'd you, the extra healing isn't going to change things. For the secondary runes, you have the option with Inspiration Tree with Free Boots and Cosmic Insight, or you have Nimbus Cloak and then Gathering Storm. I would say your best bet is Nimbus Cloak Gathering Storm, as one, you're going to be getting extra utility on your smite and then also on your flash, but Nimbus Cloak is mostly for your smite as the jungler. After you cast a summoner spell, you gain bonus movement speed that increase that lasts for 2.5 seconds and allows you to move through units. Then the movement speed increase is more based off the cooldown of the summoner spell, so it is lesser with smite, but it barely matters. The biggest part about it is where you can blue smite someone, you're slowing them, and then you're also giving yourself movement speed. And then if you're able to stay onto them, even champions with dashes or champions that use flash, you still have the potential to get, since you've slowed them, and then since you get the bonus movement speed towards them, you still have the potential to run them down and then land all three parts of your Q and the E, and then that usually sets you up for lethal. So you just ult them to finish them off. There's a pretty good luxury with Nimbus Cloak in solo queue as well. For any champion with no dash, especially in the early game, where you can be a level 5 to level like 7 Evelynn, if the enemy jungler like shows up in your jungle and you have to contest them, having blue smite to get away from them also has good defensive utility. So it can cover up a lot of your early game and then also amplify your mid to late game. Really, it's just a really like I said, like luxurious rune where you can just have a lot of use case for it, and having it versus not just feels better. With Gathering Storm, you're going to gain ability power per 10 minutes. So for most of the game, most games you're going to be sitting on 24 ability power offered by this rune, but the later the game goes, it just keeps being useful, which is super solid. With Absolute Focus, while you're above 70% health, you also get ability power, but with this rune, it's based on your level. And with jungle, you kind of cap out around level 11 to 13 for most of the mid game, and you're briefly going to be beating the amount of ability power offered from Gathering Storm, but past 20 minutes, you're probably not. So Gathering Storm's more consistent, and the ability power offered by Absolute versus the utility from Nimbus Cloak probably outweighed. If you wanted to, though, you could run Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm would be completely fine. So then for the adaptive runes, it's pretty simple. Ability power, and then armor. You do need the armor, as the jungle camps just simply do kill you. At higher MMRs, and if you're better at kiting the camps, so you literally just take less damage from the jungle camps because you move around them properly, then running magic resist in advantageous matchups is completely fine. Going back to the secondary runes, the most viable option second would be probably Free Boots and the Cosmic Insight. With Free Boots for any AP jungler, similar to like Elise, where with Free Boots they offer you 300 gold for free, and then that accelerates your build into your first jungle item into building Sorkman boots, and then that gives you a better spike come mid game. But that spike needs to outweigh Nimbus Cloak and Gathering Storm, and if Evelynn's already going to get those items anyways, it's not so bad to have to spend the 300 gold. Evelynn also doesn't make the best use out of Cosmic Insight compared to other champions. Her Q is effectively never on cooldown whenever you're clearing jungle camps. And other champions, they usually just have like way longer cooldowns, so 10, 12 seconds, and then Cosmic Insight's just giving them more value when they're clearing the camps, as they actually get another rotation of an ability off that they otherwise wouldn't have. Cosmic Insight doesn't really do that for Evelynn. It is okay, and then it's also good for your ult and then your W, especially in team fights, but it's better just to get the boots and then the cooldown reduction through itemization versus through the runes, because you just can't access this the utility from Nimbus Cloak or the ability power through Gathering Storm in itemization in the more consistent ways that you can with cooldown reduction and boots and from this page. Another option that people might be weighing would be Precision Second with Coup de Grace plus either Triumph or Presence of Mind. Coup de Grace isn't a bad rune. The only problem with running it is that you have to run that, and then the problem with running it is that you end up in the Precision tree. So then your only good option is basically Triumph or Presence of Mind. Tenacity's not helping you as you're not a tank. Like, your champion basically goes in and then ults out. There's no frames for the enemy to CC you effectively. And then with Triumph, takedowns restore 12% of your missing health and then grant you an additional 20 gold. Again, like, Evelynn doesn't really spend her health as like a resource as well as other champions. But like, this would work. And then with Presence of Mind, takedowns restore 20% of your mana and then increase your mana by so much. Evelynn, again, just doesn't run out of mana. It just doesn't happen. Unless you cast your W maybe like 5 times for no reason and then aren't standing in the jungle to regen the mana, like, maybe you would actually run out of mana. But if you were going to run this, I suppose Triumph would be your best bet, as it would have the higher synergy. The extra gold from getting a killer assist is kind of icing on the cake. But mainly, with Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions who are below 40% health. This also doesn't have the highest synergy with Evelynn's kit, as whenever you get onto someone, you W them, and then you spend the 3 parts of your Q and then your E, and then you're effectively on cooldown. So maybe you're increasing the damage you deal with the ult, but since he ults and execute anyways, it doesn't have like very good synergy with how Evelynn wants to play out like how she attacks a champion. If they were low anyways, and then you were just finishing them off with QE, it'd be different, but I just don't see the good synergy there. So these are the runes I'd recommend for Evelynn Jungle. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them, and if this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. Evelynn, she's kind of good, but you have to farm on her now, not like Season 9 where you could just run around like a fucking crazy person. Bye-bye, see you later. Did I say twitch.tv/starnails and links in the description. I'll be talking about League there too. Alrighty, bye-bye. See you later. Bye-bye. Evelynn's my girlfriend. If you could just not talk to her, man, that'd be great.